Welcome back to Katie on the Flip Side. This is going to be this week's very casual video because I just wanted to talk to you guys about this. Just got done getting my blood drawn, which is always super duper fun, but it made me just be like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to talk about this. Let's talk about hormones and how they jack you up and what is possibly going on. I haven't really talked much about this for kind of a number of reasons. It just feels weird to me to talk about. I know that we have had a lot of stress in our lives, like between Cullen and me and our situation and the addiction stuff and that emotional turmoil and chaos and all that goes with it. But there's also just some things like internally with myself that I've been struggling with that I'm not sure if are due just to life's regular chaos or if it's something else or if the two things are working together. So I was inspired to go get my hormones checked, figure out if there's something going on inside my body that is an issue, because if you've seen Ellie and Jared's videos, Ellie's talked about how she went and saw a doctor and has been doing some bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, I think it's called. Basically, a different type of hormone therapy than just the type that you go and see your regular doctor for. I'm definitely not an expert, but basically hormones that are made to be identical to your actual hormones in your body. All that being said, I don't even know if that's what I need right now, but I've heard several people talk about getting their hormones checked and realizing that things were out of whack. If you're familiar with my story, after I had my second child, Brooks, he's 2.5 now, so 2.5 years ago, I experienced postpartum depression. I've realized now after a few years that when my daughter was born 4.5 years ago, I did have some anxiety that increased after she was born. I've never been a very highly anxious person until I had my kids. But after Brooks was born, I made a whole video about this, and you can go watch it right here if you would like to check it out. But I talk about postpartum depression and anxiety, and that level of actual depression, clinical depression, was something that I've never experienced before. For me, I didn't realize at first when I had Brooks that it was postpartum depression, because I felt like if it was that, that would mean I should be like sad and crying. I wouldn't want to take care of my baby and having all these horrible thoughts and like thoughts of harming myself. And I didn't really have any of that. It was more the loss of interest in activities that are usually fun for me, didn't really care about anything, irritability, really like kind of loss of interest, not necessarily in taking care of my kids, but like interaction, exhaustion mentally, and not just the type of exhaustion because you're not getting sleep. So I was on an antidepressant for about a year, got off of that, and things were great, ish. I mean, as great as they can be dealing with what we've been dealing with in our life, but I felt a lot better. And then I started kind of realizing that things would be up and down, and I would like question myself. I'd be like, I have these feelings again, the loss of interest, like not really caring, being sluggish, being tired, major brain fog, like can't like properly put together, organize things in my head of like what I need to do, or just the simplest things of like planning dinner is just can be like overwhelming. I just am like, I have no idea. I just have no idea. Somebody like boil some water so we can make some noodles because I have no idea. But then after a little while, I would kind of snap out of it and I'd be like, okay, I'm good. It must have just been, you know, everybody has a rough day or two. And I just didn't really think much about it. And then I started noticing that it was certain times during my cycle during the month. So the first time I really made this connection was I was actually watching one of Bonnie Holine's videos. I don't even remember what the video was about, honestly, but I was sitting there watching it on the couch one night and just started crying. Like something in the video touched me and I started crying and just could not stop crying. My mind was going all these places of like, everything is terrible in life, nothing's ever gonna be good, helpless, hopeless. Bonnie didn't make me feel this way. It was literally not 100% related to her video, so it's not about that. But I was just like, this is really weird. This is the type of crying I feel like I had like when I was pregnant, like pregnancy hormones, and I thought, oh Lord, I hope I'm not pregnant. This was over a year ago. And then the next day I started my period and I was like, oh well, There you go. Maybe that's what it was. I guess I was just overly emotional for some reason, which I'm usually not. That's never been me. I've never been like a big PMS person. I mean, everybody gets a little extra moody or whatever, but not real. I mean, not over the top, I guess, or maybe I've just never noticed it. So as time went on, I kind of kept noticing that right before my period would start, I would start feeling not just overly sad and emotional, but also, like I said, the feelings of hopelessness, just discombobulated mind, very easily irritated with anything that went wrong. And I think the part that's the hardest for me is that, like, I don't like people at that time. Everybody and everything everybody said gets on my nerves, which is hard when you have kids that are already kind of like kids, you know, as a parent, they're gonna kind of drive you crazy. It's just like extremely intensified. So anything just like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to be around anybody or talk to anybody. I feel terrible for feeling this way, but I feel that way about my kids too. And like when I'll drop them off at school, I immediately am like, oh, I miss them and I wish I could have enjoyed the moment just then that I had with them more. I'm not myself, which myself is like a positive, happy person. Let's make the best of everything. Let's talk about what's gonna be fun, and let's do this while we're on the way to the car and skip to my loo because that will be fun and make the day exciting. And it's just like, all right, y'all get in the car, come on, let's go. The thing is, as we've been dealing with all this other stuff we deal with, I do see somebody for my mental health, and she was like, start tracking it the first day that you start feeling this way. And she was like, do you know, like, are you able to tell for sure when you start feeling this way? And I was like, yes, I literally wake up, I know the day that I start feeling like that. Well, once I started doing that, I realized that it was literally every single time within almost always exactly 7 days before I started my period. But it's like a switch flipped and things were different. And then as soon as I would start my period, literally the next day, I would feel totally back to normal. And as soon as I felt back to normal, I wouldn't even truly be able to understand why I felt the way I did before. I'd be like, oh, well, that really wasn't that big of a deal. And I don't know why I was so irritable. And I mean, it's like you almost can't even understand it when you're not in it. So long story short, I know that was a long story and a long explanation, but that's just basically kind of the premise of what's been going on. As I was talking to my doctor about this, she was like, you're basically describing exactly PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And I remember that coming out in our diagnostic manual. I remember being like, seriously, they gotta come up with like an actual term for PMS? Like, it's PMS, it's what happens. People get a little bit irritable. But I didn't realize that it was like legit a debilitating thing. Obviously, it wouldn't be in the diagnostic manual if it wasn't a major thing. So, of course, being like the person that I am, I started doing research on this and looking into it and joining like support groups online, and found so many people describing some of the same exact things. And it's like, holy cow, really? Like, this is actually a thing. And it's not even just the big things as much as some of it is the little things. Like, if my kids touch me or something when I'm feeling this way, it's just like, oh, stop, just don't touch me. And y'all know I'm a physical touch person and I don't mind being touched. But it's just like, I started realizing that, and I would notice it like when I was putting my kids to bed at night. And I was noticing that there was a difference, for example, one night than 2 nights ago when everybody was happy. I was looking forward to laying with them. I was snuggling with them and everything was fine. And then 2 nights later, I'm just like, oh my gosh, stop, just don't touch me. Like, let's get this done and I gotta get out of here. Which is just really sad for me because that's not me and that's not who I am. And I hate feeling that way. So I started looking into it. I've started taking more vitamins. I'm taking a probiotic and I'm taking some magnesium every night. This is all just like self stuff that I've tried myself. I've seen a lot of people say that doing like a low carb, low sugar, or no carbs at all, no sugar, has really helped. And I can't help but wonder if that's why I do feel better sometimes now that I've gotten on this like track of eating. So my next option was back in January, I started taking birth control because a lot of people have said that that helps because then it kind of regulates things out. I know that starting birth control, your body has to adjust to it. And honestly, I'm just not sure that it's helped. The first month, the whole first month was like, I felt kind of like awful the whole time. And that was also during the time that I got the flu and got a staph infection in my face and everything else. So who even knows? But in general, it's not as predictable as it was before. Before I knew the rest of the month I would feel great and I would feel myself and I would be good. Now that I'm on the birth control, my cycles have not been as regular and I don't know. It doesn't seem to be helping. I know the stress in our lives doesn't help either, and I'm not really sure exactly when this started. The best that I can figure is that it was right after I quit nursing Brooks. It was about 6 months after I stopped taking my antidepressant, so I don't really think it's related to the fact that I stopped taking that. I don't honestly remember feeling like this at all prior to having kids, but I've also seen some people say that it can be triggered by some type of trauma or stress or experience in your life, which is obviously going on, and had just really gotten to the depths of being major stress in our lives when this did start. So who knows what it's related to. But I've also found people that talked about how this is due to this dysregulation of hormones in your body. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna make me an appointment and I'm gonna go see one of these bioidentical hormone replacement doctors to see what's going on. Maybe I'll get in there and they'll say nothing, my hormones are fine, everything is good. And that would probably be worst case scenario for me, because I would be like, seriously, like what? So what do I do now? Because this is not cool. So I have this appointment. I had to do pre-blood work ahead of time. I had to do this 24-hour urine test, which was really interesting. They sent me this kit and I had to not pee all night, which was really hard. Like overnight, I couldn't get up and go pee. So I had to save a sample from the morning, and then I had to restrict my water intake throughout the day. And you do one like 4 hours from when you wake up, then 8 hours, then 12 hours, then 16 hours, and then you're done. And so I just did that. I'm really interested to see what they say. A lot of y'all have mentioned how I seem happier and like healthier and all that, and I am. Like if I wasn't on this like mental journey I've been on and health journey and all of that, I don't know where I would be. That's the hard part, is like mentally, as far as I can convince myself and change my mindset, I do feel better. Like I realize my life is better. I realize things are better. It's the deep down tugging inside my brain that's like in the back of my head going like, things aren't okay, you don't feel okay. I was just hesitant to share about this because like I said, if you haven't been through it, it's hard to understand. And I don't know, I don't talk about it with Cullen a whole lot because he just isn't the type of person who likes to talk about that kind of stuff, I guess. And I just feel like some people think it's an excuse, or well, you're just like being lazy, or you don't want to have to fix dinner because you just don't want to, because you're just being lazy, or you're being whatever. I don't even know. But it's literally, it is impacting my life. And I know you guys are great to not judge, and I'm not really expecting anybody to, but I don't want to feel judged. I feel like in general, because I guess when I'm dealing with the whole like having trouble trusting myself in life, I don't feel like anybody else would trust me. Like, why would you believe me? Why would you believe that this is actually how I feel and not just that I'm making some excuses? I don't know. It's a lot of mental stuff that I'm dealing with personally. I'll keep you guys posted as I go through this, but that's where things stand right now. All this female woman stuff I've never been comfortable talking about, and I kind of hate talking about it right now, but I wanted to share with y'all. I figured maybe it can help somebody else. Maybe y'all can help me. Maybe we can work together on this. Y'all help me out. Maybe I'll get some answers to the doctor. Maybe I won't. I'm really praying that I do. Y'all leave me comments and suggestions if you have them. If not, you should just praise Jesus and thank him that you don't have to deal with this, because it's really frustrating. But as always, thank you guys for always being so supportive and so amazing. I said this in a comment last week, but I just truly feel like I have the absolute best, most wonderful, fabulous people that watch my channel and comment on my channel and support me, because you guys are always so nice and helpful, not judgmental, and it just really means a lot to me. So thank you guys so much. I will see you on Sunday night, hopefully for a live stream. It's Easter. I'll keep you posted. Y'all follow Instagram and I'll keep y'all updated on what's gonna be going down then. So, all right, y'all have a great week. See you in the next video. Bye.